Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, officials, displacers, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot. Let's go back to the good old USA and go global as well. In the third part of my series of a Useful Idiot videos on domestic issues that people won't watch. And so I'm going to wrap up that series right now. And the 4 or 5 of you that watch this, I know you will enjoy it. So let's go to negative interest rates, another recent phenomenon. It pretty much goes hand in hand with all these other things that I've been talking about in the last couple videos, particularly the whole idea of cashless society and negative rates, interest rates go along with that, and also the whole idea of central bank control. So that's why I wanted to do these videos together. So who uses negative interest rates so far? We have the ECB, which of course is a big player, and we have the Swiss National Bank, and we have the Sveriges Riksbank in Sweden, and then the Bank of Japan, and then oddly Denmark's national bank, National Bank, as well in Denmark. So it's only a handful of banks right now, but of course a couple of them are major players, Bank of Japan and ECB, and they've moved into this negative interest rate zone. But it's important to point out, for one thing, and this is addressed to, once again, the fear mongers out there that talk about the downside of this. Well, there is a downside, but so far, Switzerland is the only one that has a negative interest rate on deposits, and it's a blueprint for the future, and we can see more of this where the negative interest rate affects deposits. But right now, the banking industry is certainly afraid of that, worrying about hoarding and bank runs and the like. So right now, that negative interest rate only exists on excess reserves. So that's important to know. That does affect a lot of banks, because let's remember that all the banks in Europe and in the United States have been on a continuous bailout since the economic collapse back in 2008, 2007, 2008, and because they parked their excess reserves, and the Federal Reserve started paying interest on them. So it's continuous bailout, and it includes the European banks. So they're going to try and get them to move that money out of there. And the result of even just the 5 big players having these negative interest rates means that $7 trillion in government bonds with negative yields globally. So we know that's not a good thing. And it's ironic as well, because the banks can't loan these excess reserves. So creating this environment really isn't going to achieve the effects they want. But of course, we're used to that by now. And negative interest rates, the effects basically are, one, that finances government limitlessly and automatically, no more tax filings. And so that goes hand in hand with the cashless society as well. And we found that the cashless society would also eliminate the need for tax filings. So just another way for the government and banks to just have complete and total access to your money in your accounts. And number 2, of course, one of the big ones is it pays off bank debts. As these interest rates go into negative territory, and once again we have a bizarro environment where liabilities become assets. Number 3, forces you to spend everything or lose it in attrition, because remember, the negative rates are going to be a slow attrition on the bank and corporate reserves that are parked at the central banks. And at some point, if they introduced these interest rates, negative interest rates to actual deposits, then yeah, you would be encouraged to spend your money, or at least certainly the amount that you would be losing in attrition due to these negative rates. And then number 4, the system is given full control over your financial life. Everything is monitored, tracked, and only done with approval through negative interest rates. And that's the same effects that we see using the cashless society. So very interesting that this move to negative interest rates and this call for a cashless society are done in tandem, because once again, it's about tracking, it's about control, it's about approval. And once again, the governments and the banks being put in control of your financial life and being able to use that information in any way they want. And of course, as I should have brought up in the last video, on the surface, a lot of this stuff seems benign. Of course, the corporations want to track everything you buy, how much you spend, so they can milk you for every last drop of money that they could possibly get out of you by tracking all your money habits. But of course, the government wants to do it so they can control you and they can extract more wealth and fund a bloated giant bureaucracy. And so anyway, it ends up being about control 100%. And negative interest rates means your account balance will always be shrinking. So it's happening to the banks right now, and we'll see how happy they are about it. But we'll keep you posted if it comes to a bank near you. So there's the thing about negative interest rates. Interesting timing. Another interesting move to give central bank control. But right now, it's not a flashing red light. Just something to watch. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.